Oh, G Funky Boxing. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, hit the like button, the notification bell. Tonight, being with my co-host, 97 Rough from Leaving the Ring. How's it going, man?
Doing great, brother. Just here, ready to do this interview with these two great gentlemen here on the show.
Exactly. We got a real treat for you guys. We got a father-son duo joining us tonight. Let's give a big hand to 140-pound prospect Giovanni Marquez and the legend and one of the best commentators in the game right now, Raul Marquez.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. So let's take care of some business right away with Giovanni. All right, 7-0 with 5 knockouts on your record, and you are fighting on the first in about a week.
Yes,
so,
sir.
Let us know the details. Let everyone out there know the details about your fight, man.
Yes, I'm fighting December 1st in Houston, Texas. The fight will be streamed on DAZN. I'm going for 8-0. So if you're here local in Houston, come show out, come support, the Houston kid. And if you can't make it, tune in on DAZN.
That's right, guys. It will be on DAZN. So make sure if you have your DAZN, you watch it just before the big Ryan Garcia return Saturday night, December 2nd. Make sure you check out our guy here, Giovanni Marquez. He is a fantastic young prospect. I spoke with your father in person at a showbox card he was doing in my area earlier this year. And I could just tell when I asked him about you and your career. Yeah, he's his face lit up, and he's real excited about your progress and everything as a professional. And ever since then, I've been following you. Now, I want to talk to you about you fought on an overtime boxing card, right? This year was an overtime
Yes.
card,
Yes.
and they have a thing where if you get a knockout, you get a bonus. So did they live up with that? Because you did get a knockout on that card.
Yes. Yep. They lived up to it. So I got a little bonus, and I can't complain. I'm blessed for that.
Hey, let's give him a hand for keeping their word, man. That's cool.
Yeah.
I actually like that. That gives the fighters a sense of urgency, and the fans are gonna be happy with the results. We know all the fans love seeing knockouts. So, and you fought a gentleman by the name of Nicky Vitone, and
Correct.
I just want to make a comment. There was some animosity there. Was that something that was building up prior, or was that just some gamesman competitiveness just leading into the fight?
That was something on his end. I'm a very respectful individual. It's always just business for me. And when we got to the weigh-ins, he started chirping a little bit, and on social media, he started talking, saying I was a young boy and whatnot. And of course, right in front of if we're facing off, I'm not gonna just let him punk me. Of course, I'm gonna say something back. And I just told him there's levels to this game, and sure enough, when we fought, it showed there was levels, and I got him out of there in 2 rounds. And after, he was very humble, praising me, saying I'm a great fighter and whatnot.
That's cool, man. And I was impressed with that because what I noticed was when you did hurt him, he kind of went just strictly to his high guard defense. Not a whole lot of head movement, but you found a way to get your punches in between that high guard. You were going up the middle, going around. I feel like your punch placement was really, really good. But not only that, but just the power to go through the guard like that, man. That's something you don't really see in young fighters, man. That was fantastic to watch.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
Is that something that you work on a lot? Like really just, getting a lot of leverage on punches and things like that?
With the 8-ounce gloves, they're not to be played with. You kind of don't even have to throw the punches so hard. You just place those punches, put them in the right spot, and they're going to do damage. And as far as placing the punches, that's something me and my father work on day in and day out. He puts the gloves on, and we work. We place punches. Literally, we place punches around the guard or at the arms, wherever. So it happened by no accident. It's something we work on, and I just put all the work into the ring, and it showed.
It sure did, man. I noticed that right away because this is something that we say a lot. I've been on this platform, YouTube, for a really long time. But when we look at prospects, we say things like, "Oh, yeah, he's good, but he doesn't look like he's strong yet. Like he needs to develop man strength."
Right.
I don't see that as a problem with you, man. Like I said, you looked very, very strong in there against your last 2 opponents, and again, just punching through the guard. That doesn't seem to be an issue with you.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah,
Did you
you're
watch? Did you watch a lot of tape of your father? Being that he's been through that path, Olympic, his whole pedigree speaks for itself. World champion. Did you watch a lot of tape of him, or did you stay away from that because you wanted to be your own person?
A little bit of both. My reasons for watching his tape, a lot of the reasons are for like motivation.
Mhm.
Knowing that like my father could do it, it makes me feel like I could do this too. So I get a lot of like motivation from watching my pops, but also I learned from him too. He had a lot of great qualities, and most importantly, I think his strongest quality that I could learn from is his jab. He had a great
Yeah, he did.
constant jab, and that's something I take away from his game.
You know, my question to Raul is this: is that through past in boxing, you have seen the father and son. The son picks up the mantle and move forward, but it's never been that that the son surpasses what the accomplishments of the father. What
Right.
did you see in your son that you said, "Hey, you know what? Let's go down this road and see where we headed to and where we land."
Well, actually, my father's the one that started Giovanni as a fighter, right? When he was an amateur, and it got to a point where I kind of took over. Actually, I took over when he won the national Golden Gloves. He won the local Golden Gloves here, and I took over after that when he went to the state Golden Gloves here in Texas, and he won that, and then he won the national Golden Gloves in 2021, I believe, and he got the Outstanding Fighter Award. So when he won the national Golden Gloves, we decided to turn pro. We didn't want to wait for the Olympics. Actually, he did before he did try out for. He lost to Tiger Johnson, the guy that eventually made the Olympic team. But
Right.
anyways, once he won the national Golden Gloves, we had something to show for, and we signed with the Split T, David McWater, as management with the management. And what Giovanni, he's 7-0 with 5 knockouts, and he's been from his first fight to now, he has shown a lot of development.
Mhm.
We always go back. If he was to fight the guy that he debuted with on Showbox, if he was to fight him now, I think Giovanni would knock him out. Giovanni, when he started, I mean, you got to understand, he debuted on Showbox, the new generation, a series that I do, and as a broadcaster. And it's a lot of pressure for a young kid like
Right.
Giovanni. They came and did a feature on him before the fight. They even after the fight, they did a feature on him after the fight, and for that show, man, it was all about Giovanni Marquez, the son of Raul Marquez.
Marquez,
Me
yeah.
being the broadcaster, working his corner first, and guiding him to a win, and then going back to the mic and calling the rest of the show, the rest of the fights with Brian Campbell and Steve Farhood and Barry Tompkins. But in that fight, Giovanni, of course, there was a lot of emotions for me because I mean, it's a lot of pressure, like I said, for a young
Right.
kid, for any kid, because I've seen it so many times over and over again, how guys fight on Showbox or fight on a TV platform and they freeze, man. They're not able to perform. They get nervous. Whatever goes in their mind, they just can't take the pressure of the camera on them, the lights, the camera, the people, all that, and they
Right.
freeze. And I think Giovanni did a good, he did a really good job of performing that night. He when you fight on Showbox, you don't fight a sitting duck. You fought a guy that had a winning record. He was undefeated. He was 2-0, and the guy had a winning mentality. He was coming to beat Giovanni Marquez. And being that he's my son, that's even extra motivation
Yep.
for the other guy. So
Right. Yeah,
my
it's a
point-
trophy.
yes, yes. So
Got a
my
target
point
on his
is,
back,
my point is Giovanni. Yeah, Giovanni did a great job. He won the fight, but ever since then, he's shown a lot of improvement. What I like about Giovanni, he's a thinking person. He's a thinking boxer. He's boxing IQ. I like the way he switches from left to right to left. He punches from different angles. He does it so easily. He places his punches really well. He's got respectable power. He's got a really good jab, good defense, and he's not the typical Mexican fighter like I was that just comes forward and
Right.
I'll take 3 or 4 shots to get in there and get one shot in. He knows how to box too. He could be slick. He likes to put his hands down and taunt the guy with the jab, like bait him in. He's got a really good style. I mean, he mixes it up with coming forward with intelligent pressure, but he could also be slick and box, and that's what we seen when he fought Nicky Vitoni. In that fight, we saw that in that fight. His last fight on the top ranked card, Bob Arum, ESPN Plus, with the guy named Dante Strahan.
Yeah.
I mean, those two guys, Nicky Vitone and Dante Strahan, are guys that they knew how to fight. I mean, they were good fighters. They were not guys like, look, I'm gonna go there and lay down. The promoters and people that know about boxing, matchmakers, they expected these guys to take Giovanni some rounds or even go the distance. And the way Giovanni got rid of them in the second round, both of them, that shows you what kind of fighter it is. And I credit that to his discipline, his dedication. He works hard. I don't have to worry about him getting in shape or staying in shape. And also, he's had big experiences in his short career by, Shakur Stevenson hired him for one of his, not this last fight, but the one before that. He was in Vegas with Shakur for like 3 weeks, sparring with Shakur because he gave Shakur good work here in Houston when they worked sometimes together. Oshaki Foster, who's a champion now, he's given him a lot of good work too. He sparred Devin Haney, even guys like Austin Trout, who are, he's on his way out, but Austin, when he sparred Austin, he came down and said, man, your son's, he's pretty good, man. He's going to be all right. Keep sticking to it. So he got something, exactly. So, but hey, I know how boxing is, man. It's a tough sport. So far right now, we're on the right path. Now we got this fight coming up next Friday. I know we're fighting a tough guy, Joshua Rivera. He's like 8-3, I believe. He's from La Mesa, California. He's a Cali guy, and he's a tough Mexican guy that comes forward. He comes to fight. He's gonna be in Giovanni's face. He, as a matter of fact, he went the distance. He went 8 rounds with this prospect, Aaron Aponte, who Giovanni lost to in the amateurs when Giovanni was younger. He lost to Aaron Aponte, and Aaron Aponte fought this guy, and he went the whole 8 rounds. So he's a tough guy. He's in there to give you rounds, and I know he's not gonna back down. He's gonna be motivated, and we hope we're Giovanni likes to. He knows the business of boxing. You got to put on exciting fights, and I'm sure he's thinking to get him out of there. But most importantly, get the win. But if he could knock him out, that shows you how he's been developing.
Right. I'm curious, and this is a question for both of you guys here, because Raul, we know that in the 70s, 80s, well, even the 60s to the 90s, going to the Olympics was the ticket of getting a big promotional deal. All that has changed, with the millennium. Now it's like, hey, just go pro. But my question is, was there a lot of convincing for you, Gio, to go, okay, I'm not going to go Olympics. I'm not going to go the route my dad did. I'm just going to go to the pros? And Raul, did you have to do a lot of convincing your son and get your point of view of how things now are layered in the sport of boxing?
I'll let Giovanni talk about that, and I can elaborate on
the Olympics. The Olympics as a young kid, that's always the dream, gold medal.
Right.
And once I won that National Golden Gloves, I got a lot of attention from the media, the big media outlets, and I got the attention of big managers, and that kind of sparked the interest of my pro career. And after really thinking about it, the way the amateur system is set up now, just going pro was really the best move for me. And I always had more of a pro-like style anyway, so that was the best move, and that was the main deciding factors. I have a pro-like style. I had a good national tournament on my resume, and just the way the amateur system is set up nowadays.
Yeah, their point system is just terrible, and it's against anybody that tries to work the body and put pressure on. I completely agree with you.
Yes.
Yeah, it's almost like you and your father have kind of almost opposites of the way that you guys started your career. Like you said, you had more of a pro style. So you said, forget trying to get to the Olympics, I'll go pro. As were your father, a decorated amateur, won a bunch of national tournaments. He was on the 92 Olympic team in Barcelona. So yeah, that's cool, man. I like it. And, your dad said something too about, you coming in with, obviously everyone knows who your father is. did you feel like you had maybe like a little target on your back carrying the name Marquez with you into the ring, or is it something you're just like, it is what it is. I'm just going here and beat this guy up.
Always. I mean, I have that mentality of it is what it is, but being the son of my father, there's always added pressure, always extra set of pair of eyes looking, judging, seeing, oh, can this kid fight? Is he as good as his dad? Is he better than his dad? So I just, it just comes with it, and I welcome it, and I'm happy about it because regardless, those extra eyes, they're looking at me, and I'm just looking to turn them into fans and show them who Giovanni Marquez is.
Man,
I want to
go ahead.
follow up on the Giovanni. He fought in a couple of national tournaments. Maybe we didn't travel as much, but he went to a couple of nationals, and you know how the amateur system goes. Sometimes he would lose in the semifinals or even like quarterfinals, but he would lose to the guy that would end up winning the nationals or make it to the finals or make it to the semifinals. And then some of the times we thought, he would lose a split decision, or we thought we got ripped off. We thought we won the fight. Those kind of deals, But Giovanni never gave up. The good thing about it is he never gave up. He didn't get discouraged. I was the one that was griping and complaining, and because there were some fights that we thought he won. He should have advanced in the tournament, but we just didn't get the nod. So, but Gio was just very focused. Like he was like, okay, that's behind us. Let's just keep moving forward. He never gave up. And like I said, when he won the National Golden Gloves, which was a big tournament for us to win, and then he got the Outstanding Fighter Award. That was huge. And we said there's no reason to wait for the fight in the Olympics or whatever. Like, let's just go with this. Plus, like you said, his style is more suited for the pros. Me, for me it was different because I started boxing when I was 8 years old, and Giovanni might have been like 12 years old when he started boxing. So it was just different routes, different paths. And amateur boxing was somewhat different back when I was fighting. But I mean, to be honest with you, I don't think it has changed much, because even back then there was bad decisions that could have gone either way.
Right.
So I think I think being.
Oh no, there he is.
Oh, there he is.
Maybe got a phone call.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah,
we can hear you.
Did I lose you guys or no? Can you see me? I don't know what happened here.
We can hear you. We just can't see you.
Yeah, we can hear you. We just can't see you.
Okay, let me see. Let me try to find you guys again.
Well,
that's the politics of the amateur boxing right there, turning off your screen.
Yeah, I
give you heads up, bro.
You know what? That's how strong they are, man. That is a good one. I got one of those Amber Alerts. That's what it was. I think it was USA Boxing that I was talking.
Yeah, they're about to take you.
There he is.
There you are. Yeah,
anyways, I think being Giovanni's going to turn 23 here, December 14th. He's at a good age. He's doing a great job. I think we got some good big things coming next year. That I don't want to say right now, but I know it's some good stuff that's coming. And hopefully by the end of next year we'll get him to 13, 14-0, and he'll be 24 years old. He'll be a lot mature and start making more moves and move up in rounds. To 8 rounds, 6-8 rounds, and he's gonna be all right, man.
I was just gonna say. I speak to a lot of, young fighters in my area here in my region. Giovanni is totally different from these guys. They're full of energy. They're full of life. They're, ready to talk trash and get in there. Like you just seem so cool and calm. And again, with Vitone, the way that he was trying to get into your head before you guys' fight, you just kind of took it like, hey, it is what it is. I'm gonna go in here, beat this guy up, and you did, man. Like that's a rare quality, man.
It's a traditional, and I'm pretty sure I will agree with this. It's a very traditional Mexicano manner that you carry, which is missed in boxing nowadays. Everybody's so virtuous and stuff. And, I grew up with my grandfather where he couldn't stand anybody talking smack. He used to say, they should fight with their fists. And I had the grace to interview Marvelous Marvin Hagler one time. And he even said it to me. He's all, we don't need shoving and pushing and name calling in the sport. We're already two guys that are going to go in there and beat each other for the prize.
I agree.
Yep.
I agree completely.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Just I just want to say that's a rare quality from at least my experience hanging around guys that have just about the same amount of fights as you, if not just a few more fights. But so what could the fans expect from you next Friday night, man, in Houston? Let them know what they're gonna tune in and see from Giovanni.
Yeah, next Friday I'm going in there to give the fans another great spectacular performance. I'm looking to end the year off strong, 8-0 with 6 KOs. That's what I'm going for. I'm going for the knockout. I won't be of course I'm going to come out victorious, but I want to get the stoppage, get the knockout to add that to my record. So you're going to see an action-packed fight. You're going to see sharp skills, sharp defense, power, speed, angles, all of the above. So make sure to tune in December 1st. Either if you can make it out here in Houston at the Red Owl Boxing Arena, or if you can't make it, make sure to tune in live on DAZN.
That's right, and I'm glad you said the venue. I forgot to mention that as well because big fight weekend in Houston. Again, Giovanni fighting Friday. The next night, they're going over to the Toyota Center for Ryan Garcia. Big fight weekend down there. Make sure you guys support, man. Get out there, right? Boxing needs fans to get out there, buy tickets, and subscribe to these networks, all right? Because we just had a network in Showtime that just bailed out on boxing, unfortunately, man. And I want to speak to Raul about that because Raul, you were part of the Showbox The Next Generation commentary team with Showtime, and it's just so
And
unfortunate,
championship
man.
team in Espanol.
Yeah.
I mean, actually, yeah, it's man, it's a bittersweet moment that Showtime Boxing is coming to an end. But like you said, I had a great run. I mean, I was with them for 12 years, 12 years with Showtime Championship Boxing, calling the fights with Alejandro Luna in Spanish. And I also had my opportunity to, I did it in English too. I was able to work with
Right.
the top guys, Brian Custer and Mauro Ronaldo and Al Bernstein. And then, I saw Prosperous grow and go on to become champions. I think we developed like 91 champions, went through Showbox and New Generation.
Yep.
And I was there with Barry Tompkins, Steve Farhood, Hall of Famers, more recently, Brian Campbell. And I did a bunch of press conferences. I did weigh-in shows. I did, that show Fight Towns. I did a lot, and, for me just to be able to break down the fights for the people that love boxing so much, as much as I do, it was truly I mean, it was an honor, man. It was a privilege for me to do that. And I promise that this ain't the end for El Diamante, man. I'm looking to land a job somewhere else doing broadcasting because I love to call fights. I've been doing it. Actually, I've been doing broadcasting since 1997.
You were doing the HBO Latino.
Well, I
right?
did HBO Latino. Check this out. I did
I
HBO
remember
Latino. But even before that, I'm gonna tell you my first show that I ever did, and you're gonna like this. In 1997, it was on Telemundo or Univision, one of them. Is a producer named Rick Sierra, and one of the guys that was, I think it was Ricardo Celis, broke his leg, and they asked me to come in as a, just try it out. And I said, yeah, I'll try it out. And you know where that show was at, man? It was in Sacktown in Sacramento, bro.
Really?
Yeah. And you know who was fighting too? You're gonna try. It was early in 1997. It was Yoriboy Campas.
Ooh.
Okay.
He fought
Yeah.
in. Look it up. He fought in Sacramento, man. I did like I said, it was Telemundo, Univision. I think it was Telemundo, and that was my first opportunity at broadcasting, and being the aggressive-minded fighter that I was, and that's the way I am in life. When I want something, I go and get it. So they like what I did, and I just continued doing broadcasting in different platforms. I did HBO Latino, like you said. I did. Remember that NBC Boxing Budweiser series?
Yes.
When Rocky Juarez and Juan Diaz fought on there. Like I did it with Bob Papa, and then I did a bunch of international calls, like in English. With you name the guys: Rich Murata, Steve Farhood, Barry Tompkins, Al Bernstein, a bunch of those guys. I did Alan Massengale, who recently passed away. I did English, I did Spanish, Adrian Garcia Marquez, Azteca America, Fox Deportes. I just continued to do broadcasting. When I retired after I fought for the middleweight title against Arthur Abraham in 2008, after that I was able to focus on my broadcasting career. I was doing, for 2 or 3 years, I was doing different little platforms and stuff. And then February 2012, that's when I got the call from Showtime to do it in Spanish. And then later on that year, in October of that year, I joined Showbox, the new generation. So like I said, man,
Did
You've
you?
been great, man. You've been doing
yeah,
great.
it's been great. I can't complain, man. But I'm still young. I still think, I think I'm good at what I do, and
Yeah,
I want
you're
to
phenomenal
continue
what you do. Right.
Thank you. Yeah, I want to continue to do it. I really do.
Do you feel that your voice should have been heard more in big fights? Because look, there's no gripe against Abner Maris. Love Abner.
Right.
I've had him on a bunch of times on the show. Really good guy, and does a great job in his commentating. But I just felt that he should have went on like the prelims to build that record, because like you mentioned all these things you were doing. I mean, by the time you got to Showtime, you're a veteran already. I mean, you already hang with the best, right? So
Yeah.
when he got announced that Abner got the position for the championship fights in English, I was like, what the hell happened to Raul?
Right.
Why did he not get that seat?
Yeah.
Was that ever discussed among the suits in Showtime? Did you ever bring that up, or no? Or you just took the assignment?
Like I said, I let leave it up to the fans. I know fans and writers like people that have podcasts like you guys. I mean, yeah, they talk about it. Yeah, has that brought? I'm not gonna lie. Has it been brought up a bunch of times in my career, or the times that I've been? I think he was on there for 3 years. So has it been brought up a bunch of times? Yeah, it has. But it's whoever makes the decision. That's the decision they make. I'll just leave it up to them, and I continue to work hard. To work hard like I did. Like I told you, I did the Wayne shows. I did press conferences. I was, I had the opportunity to do some shows in English too with the top dogs, the top guys, should I say? So and I will continue to work hard to hopefully be able to be in that position one day, and on a different platform. Platform.
I like I said, it's nothing against Abner, because
Abner's you're right.
Great guy. And even towards the end, now they're closing their doors, I thought he's actually gotten better with this craft. But there's a lot of moments when I'm listening to Abner, and you could literally tell that he's still trying to figure out where to place the words at to get to form what he's watching. Whereas when I would listen to you, bro, it just flowed. It was
like water, man.
Water. Yeah, you're like boom, boom, boom. And I'm like, yeah, bro, I'm agreeing with you and shit. You don't even hear him. I'm like, yeah, man, he's absolutely right. So when it got announced, I was like, even with DAZN, and then I know the contract's ending with Showtime, and DAZN, you got to listen to this here. Right. Hey, bro, replace the dude that sits next to Sergio Mora. I'd love to hear you, Raul, and Sergio Mora exchange thoughts, because I think honestly with Sergio Mora, I loved him when he started, but I think he's kind of declined in his commentary because he really doesn't have anybody there to challenge him, to keep him sharp. The guys that he does have around him, they're not boxing guys.
Right.
Well, yeah, Mannix came from a different thing, right? I think he was an NBA
Mannix,
guy.
There you go. Yeah, he was an NBA guy,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it just a lot of it has to do with the chemistry you have with your colleagues. Like me, I've always adjusted. I got experience. It makes it easier when I got so much experience. But I feel that I've always been a pretty good broadcaster from the beginning. Have I gotten a lot better? Yeah, I mean, I've been doing this for so many years. I've gotten better at doing interviews and just being able to break it down. But let me tell you, just this has nothing to do with Abner or anybody else. And just there's fighters in the past that it's easy for a fighter that was a really good fighter that has a big name to say, oh, I could do broadcasting. It's easy to say they can, but when the lights come on, the camera comes on, you see that big old black lens and stuff. For whatever reason, something like fighters, for whatever reason, sometimes they tend to freeze, And, for me, I think a lot of it has been my preparation. I prepare for shows like this. I take this like, when I'm doing a showbox, especially that I'm going to be on camera, and you got to do that on camera, and you want to shine. You don't want to have no mess ups, and act like you're just making up stuff and just talking around the clock. I study, man, and I prepare myself. I talk to myself when I'm in my room. I look at myself in the mirror and I practice my on camera. I think preparation is very important. Basically, what I'm trying to tell you is I take it like how when I was getting ready for a fight,
Right.
probably even more, man, because it's a lot of pressure. Don't get me wrong, it's a lot of pressure, and you want to do good, you want to look good, you want to give the fans what they want to not what they want to hear, but you want to be able to break it down for them, make them
Right.
feel like they're my style is more like it's three of us, four of us, whatever. We're sitting on the couch right here, we're watching TV, we're drinking a cold beer, and we're just shooting the shit, talking about boxing. So that's my kind of style. That's the way my presentation, my attitude when I deliver. I want to get that feeling. I want to give the fans that feeling at home that are watching it in the living room. But again, a lot of it has to do with preparation. Just because you were a great fighter or you won many world titles doesn't mean the camera's gonna come on and you're gonna be able to break it down. And again, I don't want to name any names. There's a lot of ex-fighters that have tried it. And
a lot.
I could sit here and criticize a bunch of them, and they could criticize me. But I mean, look. I mean, I know what I'm doing, and I've been doing this for a long time. So, yeah, that's just part of feeling confident and having the experience when you're in front of the camera.
Yeah, that's true,
Absolutely.
man. You do a great job, and like you said, you kind of let us know about your preparation. That's fantastic, Raul. Now I have a few more questions for you. I know we wanted to keep this around 30. We got the young gun down there is in camp. He's ready to go. We don't want to keep you guys too late.
Yeah, he don't want to talk about it. He doesn't care to talk about his dad podcast. He's like, let me go. I'm ready to fight.
Well, I have a few more things for him too. But I just want to ask you.
No, we're good, man. He's good. He's my son's a good kid, man. He's
oh yeah.
He knows the thing about it is he knows you have to do these things, and the more we grow with this sport, I tell him we got to keep doing stuff like this.
Right.
We never like to say no to nobody. Like we try to do as much interviews as we can, and we'll continue to do them. We want to make sure we're heard. That people know about Giovanni Marquez. It's more about Giovanni. Like for me, man, like the whole comparison about father and son thing.
Right.
I hope my son is better than me. I hope my son wins 2 or 3 world titles. I want to be able to be the only father. If you really think about it, well, Floyd Mayweather, and his dad, Floyd was better, but I mean, the rest of the fight, Chavez, the dad was better.
Yeah, that was.
But I want to be able to say, that my son was better than me, because
absolutely,
he got better because he just was better, and because we learned, we learned to get like from experiences things that I did wrong or bad, and when it has to do with being inside the ring and even outside the ring, all that tie it all up together, and and create that winning team. And I want to be able to say that one day.
No, that's part of being that's being a father, man. You always want your kids to do better than you and stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah, dude. I think you guys are on the right path, man. And I want to ask you this, man. You've faced some big names in your career, Raul.
Yeah.
One of them, Sugar Shane Mosley.
Oh man.
He's coming off of back-to-back losses to Vernon Forrest.
Right.
Then he decides to move up.
My Olympic teammate too, Vernon Forrest. It's crazy.
Right.
Like he, Vernon beat him in the amateurs and he beat him in the pros, man.
Yeah, he sure did. And then he decides to move up in weight. His first fight is to fight you at super welterweight.
Right.
And the fight ended in a no contest because of was it head? Well, I forgot. What was it? Headbutts?
Yeah, it was a we butted heads. I mean, I can't blame Shane. I know Shane from the amateurs, and I was a top amateur. Shane was never the type of amateur that I was, but in the pros, look how big he made it,
Right.
But we did bang heads. It was accidental headbutts. He came in with his head and I came in with my head too. And, he was he was shorter than me. So his head, the top of his head hit my eyebrows here. And, I got cut up really bad. I got cut up here and then here. I know the second cut, the referee was, he said he could almost see the bone or something like that. So he had to stop it. It's unfortunately, and I'm still, you're bringing it up. I mean, I don't know what you guys thought about that fight or how it was going, but I mean, telling you, man, that I was coming, man. I was coming.
Yeah, that's. I remember it too,
Oh,
and I was
man,
like,
yeah.
"Oh man, they're stopping it." Yeah,
It was a drag,
no,
wasn't it? When they
yeah,
stopped it, I was like,
It was.
oh,
Yeah, too
dude, you
bad.
know?
You know, I'll be like I tell everybody, I'll be 80 years old. And I'm still gonna want the rematch with Shane.
I was going to
Well,
ask you about that.
of course. That's the competitive nature, man. You know,
Yeah.
you hey,
Yeah,
you never
Hey,
know
out
these
of the-
days. You never know these
you
days
know-
what they do now. They might have you fight them again. Who knows?
Yeah, because you know, I knew Shane from the amateurs, and you know, he was always a smaller guy, and of course, I respect Shane. You know, everything he did in the pros. You know, you got to respect that. But when I got in there, I was like, man, he's not as. I mean, he's not strong. He wasn't stronger than me for sure. And then I was like, man, the speed is not as bad as much as I thought it would be. You know, like after the first round, second round, third round, I was gonna, you know, I was taking it to him, and you could see in the fight every time I threw a left hand and I caught him, he would grab me like a crab. You know, like he felt the strength, he felt the power.
Right.
Anyways, unfortunately, we, you know, it ended that way, and he went out to fight Oscar that same year, the rematch. As a matter of fact, just because of the way Shane looked at me with those 3 rounds, you know, he didn't convince, or nobody won. It was a no contest.
Right.
I know Oscar didn't want to, you know, Oscar's always been, you know, he was a star no matter what, you know, but Oscar didn't want to pay him what he was supposed, like $7 million. I think Oscar offered him $5 million or something like that at that point, because, you know, he didn't look as impressive. He didn't look impressive when he those 3 rounds,
he
you know,
didn't.
whatever.
He
But he went out to win. He beat Oscar again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
A lot of us feel like he shouldn't have got the win, but
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
yeah, at the end of the
You're
day, it's the judges, you know, they make
Yes.
the decision. And
Right.
speaking of Oscar, I'm glad you brought it up. That's exactly what I was going to ask you about now.
Right.
Being on that Olympic team in 92, that Olympics was huge, man. Not only with the dream team going to Barcelona in 92. I mean, we're talking Barkley, Bird, Magic, Jordan, all those big stars are there with you guys on the Olympic team. But you're there with a guy who turned in to be one of the biggest stars in boxing history, and Oscar De La Hoya. But I just want to ask you, man, what was it like being there in Barcelona in 92 on that team, and just the atmosphere, man? What was it like?
Oh man, it's something I'm never gonna forget. You know, like, you know, there's a saying: once an Olympian, always an Olympian. The reason I know that is the reason I say that is because I do different events here in Houston with the local Olympians like Carl Lewis and Leroy Burrell and what's her name, the gymnastics lady, the 1984 Mary Lou Retton.
Oh yes,
and, yeah, and other track and field, a bunch of track and field people, and some other gymnastics. Anyway, so we every time there's like an Olympic event, or that we all meet, and you know, we got to go talk to kids, or have like Olympic camps. I'm doing the boxing, and they're doing track, and they're every sport, you know. So for me to, like, my thing is, you know, being in the 92 Olympic team, even though I didn't medal, but I'll never forget walking in the Olympic ceremonies, you know, at the big stadium, walking with, you know, with you did the whole USA team delegation, you know, every sport, marching the track, and just the cheers, and then seeing all the different athletes, countries from all over the world, man. I just, you know, that's something that I'll never forget, you know. And then besides that, representing the United States, you know, as an American, but also as a Mexican American.
Yeah.
Me being, you know, it's a, you know, we're Mexicanos, we're Mexican,
right?
You know, I was born in Mexico, you know, but I came here when I was young. But my parents, they're immigrants, you know. I was an immigrant too that came to the United States with my mom and dad, and then my brother was born in Chicago, then my sister was born here in Houston. And because of my brother, we ended up getting that green card, you know, to be U.S. citizens, whatever, you know. That's the story. But it was just such an honor, and just being there. I mean, I was young. I was 20, 21. It's something that I'm never gonna forget. And
I can't.
And then coming back from the Olympics, going to the White House, George Bush, meeting him, walking around in the White House, all that, being in the backyard of the White House. It was crazy,
That's
man.
crazy, man. I can't
Awesome,
imagine.
man.
I just remember myself being in my early 20s. I could not imagine myself walking into it, like you said, that big stadium full of fans, and like you said, the whole U.S. team, all sports, all together.
Yeah.
Phenomenal, man. Dave, you got any other questions, man? I just have one more for Giovanni, and then I'm done, man. But if you have anything else, go ahead.
I got a few questions for I'm just, you know, your career speaks for itself. I wish I could have you on longer to ask you more about your career in boxing, but I'm really more curious about your career as a commentator now. You know, because like I said, I think you're one of the best commentators in boxing, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
You know, gold star and a lot of stuff that you do. I'm curious about this. Do you think that networks want more yes men on the ringside apron, or and not really give an honest, true journalistic point of view when it comes to a fight happening in front of their eyes?
You know what? I couldn't give it. I couldn't give you an answer for that because me, ever since since I've been a broadcaster, I'm gonna call it like it is. I'm gonna what I see and what I think. That's what I'm gonna say. I don't care what color you are. You know, orange, red, white, black, Mexican, whatever.
Right.
You know, whatever color, brown, whatever color you are, that doesn't matter to me. I just see two fighters, and I'm gonna call the fight how it is. I'm not gonna favor the fighter that's supposed to win, or is the promoter's fighter, or as they call the BC fighter. As a matter of fact, when the BC fighter's winning, I kind of like it, man, because I felt like I felt like I was an underdog in my career as a pro, and I kind of like it. You know, I kind of like it when the B fighter is taking it to the A fighter or wins. I kind of like that guy, but you know why? Because it's competition. You know, it gets good. You know, so that's my answer for that. I try my best to call it like it is and not favor anybody.
I'm glad that you brought that up, you know, because you were a fighter that had to work for whatever was due to you. So looking back with the commentator like Larry Merchant was very vocal about something he was watching. If you were boring, he said it. Like, this fight. Yeah. If you did something dirty, he would say it. It was there at any time in your career as a fighter, did a commentator say something that stuck with you and maybe changed your mind in the ring, or were later on you're in the same hot seat as they are, you had a conversation with them and go, hey man, I remember when you said this about me. Did that ever happen?
No, but you know, man, when I was doing the NBC Budweiser boxing series, what was the guy's name? And he later apologized. And I was a broadcaster, and he didn't like what I said about him. This is a funny story, man. Well, he was a welterweight, man, from Pennsylvania, like Puerto Rican. I want to say, oh man,
Kermit? Was it Kermit Cintron?
Kermit Cintron, bro. What am I?
Dude. You said Pennsylvania, and I was like, there's only one Puertorriqueño.
We just had him on not that long ago.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive, man. I was about to say, he started with a K, Kermit. That's it, Kermit Cintron.
Yeah.
Years later, he apologized and whatever. But let me tell you what happened, man. He was fighting, right? And whatever crowd he was with, whatever corner he had at that point, it was in Atlantic City at one of the hotels there in Atlantic. I don't remember, one of the small Harrah's or whatever. We had a show there. And he didn't like his people and they didn't like what I said. I guess it got to them what I had said about him, but because he didn't look impressive, they wanted to kick my butt, bro. The team they wanted to whip my ass for real. I mean, and look, I mean, at that point I was younger, and I don't back down to anybody.
You're a fighter. Come on.
I'm a fighter. I'm a respectful guy, but you can't let somebody punk you out, bro. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was like, man, and I had to let people know, you know, the NBC people, whoever was in charge, you know. So they that same night, you know, went to my room and I packed, and they got me out of there. They took me to Philadelphia, got me a room in Philadelphia, and I was out the next day back to Houston, you know. But because, you know, they really wanted to hurt me, dude. They wanted to, I don't know, because they didn't like what I said, but years later and whatever, you know, it's funny because, you know, Kermit, he apologized. He was older, more mature, whatever, and
that's what happens as time goes on, man.
But it's older. But it's crazy that, you know, that happened to me because it was a wild experience, man. Yeah, it was a
And
wild experience,
Wow.
bro.
I've always wondered, like, because you're on Twitter, like a lot of other fighters, and even a lot of commentators are on Twitter. I've always wondered because Twitter is X now, right?
Yeah.
It's a pretty brutal social media platform, man, where people are just able to be freely throw out
The
whatever
worst.
doubt they have at the moment, right?
Yeah.
As have you ever been affected by anything that a fan has said about how you're calling a fight? Have you been accused of being racist because you were calling a fight and seeing it this one way? And have you ever spoken to other commentators that say, "Man, I can't even look at Twitter during the fight because it messes me up"?
Well, luckily, man, I am kind of big on the Twitter thing, right? And
Right.
of course, I like to read the comments when people are talking good about me that I do well as a broadcaster and all that. But luckily, I've never had anybody talk bad about me when I'm calling breaking down a fight or calling a fight. And the one time that I did, yeah, there was some guy saying that I was a little bit being racist or something like that. And you believe it or not, all the Twitter world, like a bunch of they jump on the thing and they were taking up for me. Don't listen to him. I don't know what he's watching. Man, you can't. In other words, they were on my side. I mean,
I remember
they
that
do.
night. Yeah,
you do remember really? Okay,
yeah, I remember that because I also defended you too. I was like, "What, dude?
Okay,
What fight are you watching?" You know. But I do remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, it happens, but yeah, I mean, I'm not. Come on, man. I grew up in the boxing world. I mean,
Right.
Yeah, I
That's
get
cool.
along
That's
with
the-
everybody. I
that's
get along with everybody. I get along with everybody.
I was just gonna say that, Raul. That's the thing that fans don't understand is that if you're gonna be a racist, like you're in the wrong business if you're gonna be in boxing. Like
Right.
it
It's a
just
world
doesn't make
sport.
it doesn't make any
Exactly.
sense to be that
Exactly.
way in boxing, man. So fans are just gonna fan, man. That's
Right.
just what they
Yeah,
do.
Well,
especially on Twitter.
we can't be naive. A lot of fans follow boxing. They're not really boxing per se fans. They're a
Right.
fan of a fighter. It's a tribal thing. That's one thing about boxing. It's very big. It's a tribal.
Yep.
It's a tribal thing. But
Yes.
but this is my last question for you.
Okay.
Showtime is closing the doors. Tell us, man, because you, like I said, social media platform can be very brutal, and you have a lot of kids. You know, me and G Funky talk about this all the time. I talk to other folks that are into sports. I said the thing about social media, in my opinion, is that the words don't match the face that's behind there, meaning that sometimes I see a lot of these people commenting about world issues and sport or business issues, but they're kids. They haven't even been through any of that track, right? How much? Because obviously you're going to be okay. Like you said, I'll get another job as commentary, or you're working with your son. But when they close the door, the people, the staff, did it affect a lot of them? Like, did they have time to actually put in resumes to follow up and continue the career? Or are you hearing a lot of folks going like, I don't know what I'm going to do?
Well, actually, the people that worked at the office, because I'm more like an independent contractor, like I'm talent. I'm a broadcaster, but I don't work directly. I mean, it's not like I reported to Showtime office every day,
Right.
And but people that did, they still had their what's it called? Like they still pay you for a year. What's it? That's what do they call that?
Severance pay.
Severance, yeah.
Severance,
Yeah.
Okay,
So they take their severance for X amount of months or a year or something like that. But I really haven't heard anything, man. Of course, I don't have no severance, nothing like that. But
Right.
I've done well. I've done well basically, I think I manage my money right. I manage my money right. I got a boxing gym too that I train people to do boxing fitness. I got a couple of rental properties, and but I still want to do broadcasting. I mean it's fun doing that kind of work. But I don't really get in nobody else's business. I'm trying to do for me and my family.
Right.
Especially my little ones. I got remarried. I got 2 little ones. I got a 6-year-old boy and my baby girl, Alina, who's 4 years old. I got 4 boys and 1 little girl. And then, my oldest boys, RJ, Raul, and Arturo, they have good jobs. And they're in the oil and gas. They do well. And then Giovanni, he's good too. He's I'm trying to work on him. I want to make him a world champion. And I know he wants to be a world champion too. So,
oh yeah,
that's my main focus right now, and I'm hoping to like I said, the boxing is gonna continue, man. I've been with I was with Showtime for 12 years, and
Right.
the promoter was PBC,
Right.
and they have a lot of fighters. They have the face of boxing, Canelo. They signed him up for 3 fights. He already got 1 fight over with when he fought Charlo, and on top of that, you got Tank Davis. You still got. I'm sure Crawford is going to be with them. You got.
Yeah.
Wow.
Right.
I mean, who else? But the Charlo brothers, Benavidez,
Benavidez, right.
Duran Ennis, all those guys, that are still going to fight.
Right.
So I'm hoping that
Gotta
I'll
get a
have
platform
job,
somewhere.
with PBC as a broadcaster, whether
Right.
it's English or Spanish or whatever. That's what I'm looking. That's my main focus. I know right now we got 2 shows left. I leave Friday for Vegas for the Benavidez Andrade fight, and then we have a last show December the 16th in Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Yeah, with Morrell, David Morrell.
Yeah, David Morrell. So I got 2 shows left, and then we'll see what happens. But that's my main focus right now. My main focus is getting Giovanni this win next week.
That's
He's
right.
gonna look good. Hopefully win a knockout and continue with his career. And I want to continue my broadcasting career. I'm gonna say this. I was an Olympian. I'll say, like, I was an Olympian. I was a world champion, broadcaster. Now I want to be maybe a train. Maybe I'll get trainer of the year one day. But that's my goal. And with Showtime, I mean, it's my Showtime story, if you want to say, has many chapters. Like I said, I did Spanish, English on Showtime Championship Boxing. I did Showbox. I called. I did press conferences. I did Wayne shows. Look,
I've done it all in this business.
Yeah, Giovanni. I guided my son, Giovanni Marquez, did his pro debut on Showbox. So how many people get those kind of opportunities? And I was able to, and I trained him to. He got his win on Showbox. So
Yep.
I'm blessed, man. I'm blessed.
Yeah, definitely,
you've
man.
done a great job with this young man here. And last year, 2022, you made your debut, 4 fights. This year, this is going to be your 4th fight, December 1st. This year, you went from 4 rounds, all 6 rounders this year. So next year, you're looking to step up to the 8-round stage, Giovanni?
Yes, for sure. I'm definitely ready to take that step to the 8 rounds. And in sparring, when I spar, I always spar 8 rounds, 10 rounds. So I'm definitely ready, and I feel like as I get more rounds, I'll be able to show more too of who I am as a fighter.
Yep, and then there's less risk of getting robbed if the fight does go to the cards, because we're talking 4 rounds, 6 rounds. Like, you just never know what the judges are looking at in that short of time. So, yeah, and plus, again, the pay goes up when you start fighting more rounds too, man.
Yeah.
That's another good thing. So,
Yes, sir.
but I want to ask you this too, man. Young fighters, do you guys think about things like prospect of the year type of things? Like, are you looking to make that kind of push next year as you go into the 8-round stage?
Yeah, for sure. I want to be impressive, and having prospect of the year on your resume is something good to have. And I want to be impressive. I want to show my skills all around. So prospect of the year is definitely in the back of my mind. And every time I go out there, I just want to show my development, my skills, and why I have an entertaining style.
You sure do, man. Go ahead, Dave.
Well, you're on the right track, man. I'm pretty sure you've heard all the stories from your dad like 20, 30, 40 times. And I know when I speak to my sons, they'll finish my sentence. They're like, yeah, we know you've done this, you've done that. But let me ask you this, man.
That's funny.
Because you know what I'm talking about.
I repeat myself so many times. I know,
Right. But out of all those stories, Gio, which one stood out the most for you where you're like, okay, this is the bar that I got to meet, for people to recognize me and me to break out of the shadow of my dad?
Yeah, my just in general, my pop stresses to us, you can't cut any corners, especially in boxing and life in general, of course, but especially in boxing, you can't cut any corners. You got to put in a tremendous amount of work, and you have to stay dedicated to the craft. And that's what he stresses to me on a daily basis. And that's going to be part of the reason for my success December 1st, and just later on in the future in my career in
How do you,
general.
you're what, 22 again? You said 22,
Yes,
23?
22.
22
20.
years old. Let me ask you, how do you stay focused, man? Because as a 22-year-old, there's so many now and
Yeah.
temptations. You got your iPhone you could play with, Xbox, all these other outlets. What keeps you grounded and keep you and we got to admit, boxing's repetitive. It's boring in the gym. That was
Yeah.
the one thing that I would complain when I used to train as a kid, and then the things that my kids would complain is that it's boring. They always wanted to spar, not really work on their craft. What keeps you in there and motivated and keep chasing your dream?
What keeps me motivated is just literally like I have my eye on the prize, and I know it's gonna take countless days of hard work. And honestly, for me, like I wake up and I'm excited to go to the gym because each day I'm literally trying to be better than I was the next day, and I just rack up all these good days, win the days one at a time, one at a time, and I see the results that it brings, and that keeps you going, winning and winning impressively and just improving and doing good against top level guys. Just that's what keeps me motivated, and ultimately the end goal is what keeps me motivated to be a world champion.
It sounds like you
Great.
got a love for the sport, man.
Yeah, for
That
sure.
that really makes a difference, when you don't
Yes.
have to wake your kid up to go run or to go to the gym or whatnot. When it just happens, yeah, man, that's the best thing, man. And real quick, guys, I know we're approaching an hour. I want to ask both of
We
you
gave you
guys.
30 more minutes, bro.
I know,
I
man. I
know.
appreciate you
Thank you,
guys. I
bro.
do, man.
Yeah.
We
I
tricked
really
Giovanni
do.
into it, man.
And I'll reach out to you guys again, man, after the fight next week. We'll set something up in the future, talk a little bit more about some things. But like you mentioned earlier, Raul, big fight coming up this weekend in the super middleweight division. David Benavidez versus Demetrius Andrade. And I want to get both of your guys' prediction on that before we let you go. So Giovanni, we'll start with you. Who do you got
Uh,
winning this weekend, man?
yeah, I think it's a great matchup. You have the boxer, you have the pressure fighter. I see Andrade giving Benavidez problems in the early rounds with his movement, his awkwardness, but I do see David just putting that constant pressure and breaking him down over the rounds and maybe even getting him out of there in the later rounds. I got Benavidez by decision or late stoppage.
Okay, all
There you are.
right.
You're in the books.
There
Yeah.
it is. Yeah. Raul, how do you
And
see it, man?
yeah, pretty much, it's a good style matchup, man. Pretty much like Giovanni says. I think Bubu, Andre or Andrade. I call him Andrade. So
It's a
uh,
weird thing.
he was a really good amateur, man.
Yeah, he
He
was.
was he
Yeah.
was a top amateur. Won every tournament you could think of, and was an Olympian and all that. But he's got a very unique style. He's got a very awkward style, man. That could stick up the
Yes.
joint, man. He could make you look bad. He could really make you look bad. But I think he'll give some problems to Benavidez early on. But I think Benavidez will be able to figure out the puzzle. And the way he's going to figure it out is by putting that pressure early on, like constant pressure. And, the way he fights, I like when he throws those 20 punch combinations, and he's got to be in really good shape, really good shape. Benavidez cannot run out of gas because the fight is going to go into the second half of the fight. And I believe if it goes into the second half, Benavidez might get him late, or if he doesn't get him late, he'll win by decision because Andrade he knew how to survive and knew how to go the rounds, because he's a crafty guy. He knows what to do to go the rounds if he gets in trouble in the fight. But I'm gonna pick Benavidez to win, and the winner of this fight, man, should fight Canelo, man. The winner of this fight
Yes.
should fight Canelo.
Absolutely. I think that's what everybody's hoping
That's
for.
what we want, man. We want to see that. I'm glad you said that, man. And yeah, you're right, man. Andrade got an awful style sometimes, man. He can make guys look really, really bad, very awkward. Let's just hope that the referee, whoever it is, doesn't allow the holding like we saw with the Caleb Plant fight. Oh man, that was terrible to see. But I hope that we get a good fight this weekend, man, because
I
boxing
hope
needs
so
it,
too.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know
boxing
what
needs
fight
it bad.
I would have wanted to see? really on the rematch, or the rematch, because I think it deserved a rematch, was when Raul, when you fought Fernando Vargas. I always wanted to see the rematch, man.
Yeah.
You know, I thought Fernando in his prime, man. He was very sharp. I mean, he prepared himself for my fight. I mean, he was really up for that fight. But that would have been great. I would have been up for that. Why not?
Yeah.
We
Yep.
could do it now, man. We could do
Yes,
it now.
yeah, I can say that. You just
There
never
you go.
know with these days
I
what they're
know.
doing, with boxing these days, man. It could happen, and he's doing just like you, training his sons.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's great, man. I love to see you guys doing that. Well, guys, this has been fantastic. All right, we went a little bit over the time, and I apologize for that.
No
But
problem, man.
we'll get you guys on again in the near future. Talk a little bit more about Giovanni's career, and of course about your career as well, Raul. And we hope that you find a platform somewhere where you can call these fights, man, because you really do a fantastic job at what you do, man. We
Thank you, man.
appreciate it,
Thanks a
man.
lot.
Thank you, guys. Let's give them a hand.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys. And thank all of you watching live. Make sure you hit the like button and follow these guys, right? Give them your social media, guys, where the fans can follow you.
Go ahead, Gio.
You can follow me on Instagram at Giovanni.Marquez, Twitter at GioMarquez36. And thanks for having me on.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah,
Yep.
for me, it's I forgot what my Twitter is, but it's either Raul Marquez 92 or 1992. My Instagram is Raul Marquez 1992. I think my Twitter is Raul Marquez 92, and then my Instagram is Raul Marquez 1992, my Olympic year. So you can follow me on Facebook too. So
Yeah, that's his Olympic year to the youngsters and stuff. That's not the year he was born. Just to let you guys know.
Right.
And we
All right,
hope
man.
to see you guys again and get another W next weekend. All right. Thank you
you.
guys so much. And thank you all for joining in. We are out. We'll see you on the next one.
All right, you guys take care.